Hey everyone, welcome to the weekly review. The big news over the weekend is Trump appointing Bassett as the new Treasury Secretary, which has made yields break down. I think this confirms that this was indeed a top slash bottom in TLT. If this isn't reversed by end of day, I think this is done. This leg up might still reverse, but seems unlikely right now, and also put the top in the USD, even though USD might do a bit of this around the highs here before it finally turns. Now, futures are green across the board. VIX 15 uh, things for this week because it's a short week. This is Thanksgiving week, 28 is a public holiday. Everything from Wednesday and on should be, meaning Wednesday and Friday, should be low volume, especially on Friday. Low volume is usually consistent with very slow grind up, um, like 0.2% up, 0.3% up, something like this. So don't expect some big move this week. From positioning, from the weekly, let's look at weekly. We have 600 as the huge level for this week, and potentially 590, going back to 590 in case we get a pullback, but 600 should be a huge resistance. This is equivalent to 6020-ish, something like this, somewhere around here. I don't see us getting too high above this. So targets for this week are 600, sorry, probably 510 for Qs and 240 for IWM. This is very close to where we are right now, like only one and a bit dollars for IWM. Of course, we can overshoot, but any movement above these levels this week would very likely mean revert towards the end of the week. So let's say we get to like 605, most likely we will go back to 600 at some point this week. Maybe we bounce depending on when it happens. Like for example, if we go to 600 today, tomorrow we do 603 or something like that, and then we later in the week we should go back to 600 and there bounce or hover around that. But most likely these are the magnets we will have this week, the 600 level and 240 for IWM. Slightly above 6k, somewhere between 650 and 6k for SPX, we shall see, and that's kind of the expectation. Uh, I don't expect a very strong push higher. Like we got VIX crushed again on Friday. The support should still be 13. Let's look at VIX positioning. Yeah, 13 is the lowest it can go. Like whenever VIX gets close to 13, you should assume that a pullback will come and VIX will spike back up. We have to have a period of nothing happening for at least another month until quarterly OPEX in December for this to break down lower, and I don't think it will. Most likely we will get rehedging done on VIX, which will make the market go down a bit, not necessarily break down, but go down a bit as we move down. So VIX 13 is the lower bound here. If we get a bullish divergence here, like for example, we actually go to 13, we make a slightly lower low, but this goes like this. So this would make a higher high, and this would make a lower low. This is the perfect condition to get some VIX calls or some market puts. I would expect the market would do a somewhat bigger correction as we get into this. But this week, like I said, my expectation is that very slow grind up, but mind the overshoot. If we overshoot to the upside relative to these big levels, meaning 600, let's say up to 6050 on SPX and 510 on Qs and 240 or on IWM, assume we get a mean revert towards this level at some point later in this week. And when we look at the charts, this is, let's do US 500. We're back above this level. I would assume that if we push higher and do not bounce on his, so next time we go below this level, this whole band here, I would assume we get a bigger pullback. But if we continue on this move up, it should behave something like this. And we go later higher up later in the year. But eventually this level will break down, and that will be the signal that we get a flush. So when when this happens later on in the year, or at most at the end of the year, beginning of 2025, then things will get pretty crazy at some point. I would assume we break down below that, but let's say we do something like this. I would assume we break below this level earlier. We will still have a quarterly OPEX, and the potential for a pullback before that one is still there. But when we do the Santa rally should be a lower high, and it should turn this into a resistance, and we get into the new year and we start the Q1 correction because of yearly OPEX on individual names. So something like this is my expectation, and that's kind of it. Now, further evidence of topping out this week around those levels is the AVWAP bands. If I turn this on, let's say for example from the high, in general this will respect the uh, standard deviation relative to the AVWAP from this initial point. As you can see, the one from the top was ours, like we went above below it, but it was the level where we bounced at, for example here, and now we have crossed into bullish territory, turning into support. This is the pullback to 59.20 I expected, and we got it pre-market on Friday and bounced off it. So this is bullish. But if we go higher, and we have gone higher, but if we go higher, the max should be something like this, 60, 603, 63. So either this one or this one will cap us out for this week. So whenever we get into this area, expect a pullback with the target being as low as this. So this is the minimum. I'll turn this one out because we want to use one. But let's say we go to the extreme, and this is not time accurate. It's just to get the idea across. So we should do something like this. This will slightly turn up. And if we maintain the uptrend, it will be then this one, the green one, will become support. But if we lose it, then we are at risk for doing a full mean revert. And the full mean revert would be retagging this AVWAP and bouncing again. So this could happen later in the week, going as high as low as 595, something like this. So yeah, that's kind of the plan. I expect now that we have broken above this one pre-market, and I think we have, let's see, yeah, we are above it. I'll show it. For the sake of discussion, not that steep, something like this, something like this, something like this. So for later in the week, then this one becomes support. We bounce here, we do something like this, and eventually, if we break down below this level, uh, we will eventually do the AVWAP tag, and this is visible here. Like we hugged the one deviation band, didn't hit the second one, but eventually the fact that we went below this band here, I'll turn this one for more clarity. it was a sign that we were topping, and eventually we actually went to the other side of this band. Yeah, that's kind of it for this week. So expect yields to continue going lower. Expect the market to slowly grind up. But if we go to high above 600, like 602, 603, something like that, expect a mean revert to 600. Depending on what happens next, we could potentially go to the other side and go to 595. Now the expected range is 595 to 605, let's say, but probably less than 605, like 603 to 595. And whenever VIX goes close to 13, especially if we are on a bullish divergence, I think it's very okay to get some VIX calls or market puts at that point. So this is the ideal scenario when everything lines up. We get a bullish divergence here, we get a lower high here, and the market is like 603. Then it's time for puts and expect a move down. That's it for this week. Have a good one. Bye bye.